Hey everybody, what's going on? Just wanted to call and check in with you for a few moments this week. First off, love you. You guys are amazing, amazing team. Really thankful for what God's doing in us and through us. And so, just as I've been working, I haven't hit it quite effectively as I want to yet, but just checking in regularly with just a thought, some resources, some ideas to help us be more effective as we are serving people, to be more effective as we are investing time and as we're investing energy into people and as we're just going through this whole concept of time invested. And so this concept I want to share with you today. I've been listening to a really good book, listening, not reading, because I've started doing more audible books. And so I found it kind of works in my lifestyle. And then I turned them up to 1.25 speed, so I actually get through them a little quicker than normally for what the audible would be. But it's called How to Make Your Business Work Like Clockwork. And so I've just started. It's not a Christian author. He's a little bit of salty language in the book, some other things, but I can handle that for all the good stuff that he's bringing forward. But he had a very interesting concept he talked about, and obviously he's dealing more with entrepreneurs and business leaders, but I think the concept crosses over perfectly into what we're trying to do as we serve and lead people. And he was talking about the four types of work that we're going to do. And so again, this is not work per se as like entrepreneurial, but it's the work of ministry, work of kingdom, work of the things of God that we're working on. And he had some very interesting insights. So he talked about four types of work that we do. There's doing, there's deciding, there's delegating, and there's designing. Now, part of his contention is that most small business owners, most entrepreneurs, when they start, you're the one who has to do everything. And so that's there. But as you grow, you've got this habit and you're used to doing everything yourself, which I totally understand. I totally get. Just because I'm very entrepreneurial in nature. So, but then you move to the next level where you're ready, you got enough money to start hiring people. And again, I'll talk in business concept, but I'll bring it over to a ministry concept in a second. So you start hiring other people, but you're still used to be the one who's doing. So you make them dependent on you where you're still the one who has to do all the deciding. So they may do work, but they constantly have to come to you, get decisions on things because you're not empowering them to make decisions. So that's deciding level. He said, but then the next level you want to get up to is delegating. Now his contention is true delegation is when you give somebody work, but you give them the power to make decisions with that work. And it doesn't mean you don't inspect it at all, but you're really giving them the power to do what they need to do and to run with it. And then as you delegate more and more, you can move into the highest level, which he talks about, which is designing. And designing is actually being able to take a step back and to think through the systems and to think through how you're doing what you're doing. Because as a leader, that's where you're most effective. That's what started in the first place, is your ability to dream, your ability to see something. But so often you get so caught up in the busyness of doing, you stop spending time designing and improving. Someone said working on how you work or working on the business. So it's very interesting. And just what he said, it really got me thinking about some ministry context because his point, you never get fully away from doing, but you want to be able to really control where you're having to do. You want to empower others to decide. So you want to decide, let others decide. You want to really delegate, get things moving. And then you want to be able to stay in the design. Because when you're in the design place, that's where you can dream about new things. That's where you can keep looking at trends and look at what's happening and adjust and keep moving with that. And so it's a very effective way of doing things. Now, I've been bringing this over to ministry concept because I am notorious. I am a, some of you will laugh because you know this exactly, but I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And sometimes I have difficulty letting things go. I have difficulty with that. Or sometimes I try and let things go I've given to others, but it's still always like, okay, trying to get decisions back from me. Like, okay, what's the decision? I frustrate our team here in the office even sometimes because they feel like they're waiting on me for a decision and they're held up. They can't do what they need to do. What I'm working on is getting much better at delegating, which is giving something to someone and empowering them to make the decisions. In other words, one person said it this way, you give someone a result that they need to achieve and let them figure out how to do it. And I want to spend a lot of time in designing. For me, that's praying in the Spirit, hearing from God, moving things forward. So I'm learning and I'm working on these things. But I really want to encourage you in the same way to apply these principles in your connection leadership. To apply these, and really this is a principle you can use in many areas because I want to see you succeed. I want to see you just go in all the dreams God has for you. But think about how much are you actually having to do everything yourself? And how much have you moved to the delegation and the designing phase? So let's just think through this. The things you need to do. But what you want to work on as a leader is you want to work on empowering others as much as you can. Obviously, there's some things that, like you don't want to hand the leading of the discussion notes to someone who's just not ready to do it. Or just completely get. But you want to think about what are things that you do that maybe somebody else could do. And they would get real life in doing it. Do you have food at your connection? Well, who organizes the food? Are you the one who food? Is there someone else that you could empower and say, listen, your job is to get the food going? Is there someone else that, little things like we're not doing attendance right now, but we're going to get back to it. I know some of you are shuddering, oh no, having to submit attendance again. We'll get somebody to do it. See, it empowers that person. They feel more valuable. They feel more connected because they're doing something. It's in training and empowering others. And then what you can do, and it's really the delegation. And then what you can do is you can really focus on design. You can focus on prayer and saying, okay, God, what can we do even more here? How can we grow this thing even more? What can we do? And really moving into the design element. And so just some food for thought tonight. Where are you caught up in just where you're making it all about you and you're doing stuff? And sometimes there's different reasons why we do that. Sometimes we like it all being about us. We feel needed. We feel important. And yes, we take all that to the cross, get that worked out with the Lord, but just really move into a how can I be in designing and delegation mode? Because that's where I'm most effective. The best leaders and the people who are most effective at raising up others are always giving things away. It's how can I get others involved? How can I not make this revolve around me? But how can I empower others and encourage others and grow them? Because when you give more to people, that's when they grow the most. And so again, doing, deciding, delegating, designing. Take a look at yourself. Even in other areas of your life, where are you caught up in doing so you're not able to do the designing you need to? Where you're able to ask the Lord and spend time thinking, how can I make this even more effective? And designing systems. Like you want to invest time in people every week, right? So sit down and take some time and think, how can I do this effectively? Instead of every week just kind of going in there and kind of, swinging and hoping you hit something. No, it's just like, okay, on Tuesdays I'm going to do this. On Wednesdays I'm going to do this. I got a GO train ride home. I'm going to use that. Or I got a subway ride. I'm going to use that time on Wednesdays to cover this. All of us are different personality types. And some of you may be thinking, oh, that's awful structured for me. But trust me, you need some level. You may not need to be super. You can still bring your creativity and your free spirit to it if that's the way you're wired. But you still want to have some level of system and design in what you're doing. The more you can design it, the more effective you become, the less load it becomes. Delegate, get other people involved, and watch how your connection continues to grow and flourish. So I'd love to hear feedback from you on this. Let me know any thoughts, or if you found a strategy that works for you, let me know, because I'd love to pass it on to everybody. But love you. God bless you guys. You are amazing. Let's have a great weekend. I'm going to be teaching this weekend at church on just with money and heart connection. So really pray with me, agree with me. We're continuing to believe God for great breakthrough in our finances as a church and some of the other things. Let's keep going. God's on the move. Good things are happening. But love you guys. Talk to you later. See you on Sunday.